What is up guys, it's Solheim here, back with another Wrath of the Lich King Classic video, this time specifically related to the Wrath pre-patch. Quick reminder, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, as there might be some future Wrath of the Lich King Classic beta key giveaways on this channel that you definitely don't want to miss out on. Today we're talking about investments for the Wrath pre-patch, aka items that you can buy right now and sell in the pre-patch itself for potentially massive profits. I will say that most of these investments have been available in my Wrath of the Lich King Gold Guide for over 2 months now, so this is by no means investments that nobody knows about, but it's still good to know which items could be going up in price in the pre-patch itself, either so you can start investing now, or if you happen to have some of these items in your bank, you know when to start selling them. I am holding quite a few of these investments myself that I will be looking to sell off during the Wrath pre-patch, just as a disclaimer, and speaking from experience, it is good to set yourself a sell-off period of several weeks to secure your profits, because what most people will do is try to sell everything on day 1 of the pre-patch, which will crash the prices. So what I usually do is I start selling things at least a week before the pre-patch comes out, but how early you should start selling depends on how many investments you actually have. The higher the quantity of items, the earlier you should start selling. So with that mini economy lesson out of the way, let's jump in. First off, let's talk about the obvious, herbs used for inscription. I don't think they have officially confirmed that inscription will be available in the Wrath Classic pre-patch yet, or at least not as of the time that I'm making this video, but inscription did come with the original Wrath pre-patch back in the days, so I'm 99% sure it will be in the pre-patch this time around as well. There's just no reason to change how it was originally implemented. As always, when a new profession comes out, the materials tied to that profession skyrocket. This happened with dual crafting in TBC Classic's pre-patch, and it's going to happen with inscription for Wrath Classic's pre-patch as well. A lot of people are buying up enough materials to scale up inscription from 1 to 375, which there are multiple calculations on exactly how many herbs you need. We even have one pinned in my Discord server, which is linked down below, but a lot of people forget that even after scaling up to 375, scribes will still need herbs to create glyphs and enchanting volumes, which will be wanted even in the pre-patch, so I think people are vastly underestimating the demand for herbs in the pre-patch itself, and there will be a supply shock. Personally, I'm just buying up all of the cheapest herbs in each pigment and ink category, so I have some options within each type of pigment, so my investments are a little bit all over the place when it comes to herbalism investments. But basically, I'm just buying or looking at the cheapest option and buying that one. Herbs such as fellweed, ancient lichen, and ragveil are quite cheap right now in TBC Classic, because the supply is generally higher than the demand for them, and I could foresee these going up in price ever so slightly once inscription becomes available, just as an example of TBC herbs that you can buy. Now, while this video is focused only on pre-patch investments, I actually also have a lot of actual Wrath of the Lich King investments listed in my Wrath of the Lich King Gold Guide, which you can find a link to down below in the video description. This is a gold guide that I've made specifically for Wrath Classic with the purpose of helping you make as much gold as possible, and I've tried to make the guide suitable for everyone by including a bit of everything, such as gold farms, professions, gold making strategies, auction house flipping, and investments. You can get the guide for 50% off by using the code Solheim, and once you purchase the guide you will also receive all of the future updates for free, so you're always up to date with the best and most relevant gold making information. So once again, check out that guide through the link down below in the video description. Now, my next investment for the Wrath pre-patch is ores, bars and gems, basically mining materials, specifically from Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor, but I've also been picking up some cheap TBC materials. This is because a lot of players will be switching professions as we get closer to Wrath of the Lich King, as the best in slot professions are changing for a lot of classes. A lot of people use professions like tailoring, enchanting and leatherworking right now, and they will be swapping those around for engineering, jewel crafting and blacksmithing, which are the best professions for 95% of classes and specs in Wrath of the Lich King. And what all those 3 professions have in common is that they are based on mining materials. You can also use jewel crafting to prospect ores into gems, so instead of focusing too much on buying gems specifically, you might want to focus on buying ores and bars, as they are used across all 3 professions, instead of narrowing down on one out of the 3 professions. At least that is what I'm doing. There is also a reason why most people are not changing their professions until the pre-patch itself, which is the fact that Sunwell is actually proving to be quite a difficult raid in TBC Classic, and people actually need to min-max their DPS, which is done through, for example, having the best professions available, so most people won't start changing their professions from their TBC professions to their Wrath professions until pretty close to Wrath's actual launch date, in which case you could be making profit of this type of investment throughout the entire pre-patch, and the sell-off time could be a lot longer than it is for example, herbs related to inscription. Another investment of mine is items that can be handed in for reputation. This can be any reputation, anywhere, TBC Classic reputation items like the Squires and the Aldor, or even other reputations going all the way back to Classic WoW reputations, and so on. This is because the achievement system is coming to the game in the pre-patch, and there are achievements tied to reputation, and there's even noteworthy titles related to achievements and reputations, like the Exalted title. This type of investment is kind of a little bit risky, as you are narrowing down onto a small type of player base, the players who actually care about reputations and titles, but most of these reputations are honestly so ridiculously cheap right now, or yeah, reputation items, they are so ridiculously cheap right now, so even if there are a couple of very interested achievement and title hunters out there, that alone could make this investment very profitable. One last kind of out-of-the-box investment could be BOE Blue and Epic items that can be used by a Death Knight, specifically level 70 BOE items, for people looking to gear up a little bit in advance, so they can quest even faster in Wrath of the Lich King itself. In this scenario, you can even look at craftable epic items through blacksmithing, and consider investing into that as well. I will admit that personally I am not investing into this, as I think most people leveling up Death Knights will either not worry too much about their gear, or they will obtain their gear through GDKPs and not buy BOEs, but it is still a speculative investment worth mentioning. Speaking of investing, in case you haven't seen my previous video on the matter, it is worth noting that in the near future you will be able to transfer from normal realms to PvP realms, so if you're playing on a PvP realm, you might want to hold off on investing into materials specifically, as they are generally a lot more expensive on PvP servers, and as you will be able to transfer from normal servers to PvP servers, this could potentially have an impact on prices as well, so keep that in mind when investing. And yeah, that is pretty much it for investments that you can do specifically aimed at the Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch. Hopefully you found an investment or two that you think was interesting, and hopefully, if you end up making some investments based on this video, you also make some profit. Let me know which items you are investing in the comment section down below, and make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Last but not least, click that subscribe button for even more Wrath of the Lich King videos. That is it, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.